Howdy, boys and girls. Do I have a story for you? Little Red Cowboy Hat. Once upon a ranch far away in the wilds of the West, there lived a little girl with red hair. Her hair was a fine color, somewhere between firecrackers and a fire truck. This hat's already giving me a problem. And on top of it, her grandmother gave her a bright, shiny brown cowboy hat. So everybody called her Little Red Cowboy Hat, or Little Red for short. One day, her mother said, "Little Red, your grandmother's sick in bed. Ride over there and take this loaf of homemade bread and jar of cactus jelly." "Yes, ma'am," said Little Red, who loved to visit her grandmother. "Don't dilly-dally along the way," warned her mother. "No, ma'am," said Little Red. "And be careful," her mother said. "It's rattlesnake season." "Yes, ma'am." Little Red put on her cowboy hat and saddled her buckskin pony. She packed the loaf of bread and jelly in the jar, put it in her saddlebag, and then set off for grandmother's ranch, miles away. First, she rode down the deep canyon. Next, she rode up into a wide area where gold poppies lined the lawn. Grandma loves flowers, she thought. I'll just stop for a minute. As she was picking the wildflowers, she heard her pony give a snort. "Whoa, buckskin," said Little Red, turning around. "A snake?" Then she saw the wolf. "Howdy, little girl," he said. He wore a cowboy hat as black as a locomotive. "Hi," she said. The wolf stood between her and the pony. She didn't want to talk to him, but she'd been raised to be polite. "What's your name, honey?" he asked. He came closer than she'd like. "Little Red Cowboy Hat," she answered. She'd also been raised to tell the truth. "Red?" said the wolf. A creepy feeling ran up her backbone and tingled in the roots of her hair. "Red as in ketchup?" he asked. "Or red as in blood?" She didn't answer. He was much too close. She could count the teeth in his smile. "Where are you going, sugar?" he said. "Why not take a little ride with me?" Just then, the pony winced. "Whoa, Buck!" she cried, Little Red. "Whoa, Buck!" cried Little Red. I had to go back and reread. The wolf leaped away from Buck's hard hooves, and Little Red seized the reins and jumped safely onto the saddle. "To Grandma's house," she shouted, and galloped away. When Little Red reached her grandmother's ranch, she didn't hear a sound except the windmill creaking. The chickens didn't even cluck. Usually Grandma was outside, doctoring a cow or mixing cement. But now nothing moved, except the 3 buzzards circling high in the sky. Poor Grandma, thought Little Red. She tied Buck to the hitching post and tiptoed into the house. It was quiet as a tree. "Grandma," she called softly. She saw a big lump in her grandmother's bed. The lacy edge of Grandma's shower cap peeked out above the patchwork quilt. "I brought you some bread and jelly," said Little Red. "Thank you, honey bunny," said a muffled voice. What was that noise outside? Little Red stiffened. Something was wrong. "Grandma, is that you?" "Of course it is, sweetie." "I can't see you," said Little Red. The lump moved deep down in the bedclothes. A strange dark eye glimmered. Shoot, thought Little Red. Grandma must be really sick. "What big eyes you have, Grandma," she said. "The better to see you with, pumpkin," said the voice. Ka-thump came the noise outside again. The quilt fell away from a huge, hairy muzzle. Now Little Red Cowboy Hat knew perfectly well that this was not her grandma. But where was her grandma? She decided to string the wolf along until she found out. So she went on bravely. What a big nose you have, Grandma. The better to smell you with, Dumpling, said the figure in the bed. Thump, thump. And what sharp teeth you have, Grandma. The better to eat you with, Angel Pie. And the wolf sat right up, grabbed Little Cowboy Hat. Thump, thump, thump. Ow! She screamed. Quiet, you delicious morsel, he snarled, licking his chops. Oh, no, you don't, yelled a familiar voice. Get your paws off of her, you varmint. And there was Little Red Cowboy Hat's grandma with an axe in her hand. She had been chopping wood outside. The wolf dropped Little Red like a hot potato and made a break for the window. Are you all right, Red? Called Grandma. Yes, ma'am. The wolf tripped over his nightgown and he got stuck in the window, and his tail waved helplessly behind him. Meanwhile, Grandma ran after him. Take that, you low-life Lobo, she shouted. Come on, Red. Little Red leaped onto her buck skin and twirled her lasso, and together they chased the wolf down the road. Breaking into my house, puffed Grandma, wearing my clothes and getting fleas in my bed? Messing with my granddaughter? You'd look mighty good as a rug. Later, back at the ranch, Little Red Cowboy Hat and her grandmother sat down to eat their bread and cactus jelly. Now, Red, have you learned a lesson? Asked Grandma. Yep, a girl's got to stick up for herself, said Little Red. Her wind-blown hair glowed in the light of the setting sun. Her hair was a fine color, somewhere between autumn leaves and chili peppers, said Grandma. That yellow-bellied, snake-blooded, skunk-eyed, rancid son of a parallelogram, she said. This time he picked the wrong granny. And they never had wolf troubles on the ranch again. The end, boys and girls. Hope you enjoyed that story. Giddy up!